the ladder and wreaking havoc among the top 5. 2 weeks ago, they downed the premiership leaders, St George, 18-6. 2 weeks before that, with only 12 men, they nearly upset Brisbane at home. And today they want to avenge a first-round drubbing from the Raiders. Canberra haven't won here since 1987, but that's history given their current form. That magic combination of Stewart, Daly and Meninga has seen Canberra rise to within a point of the top of the table. Complacency is their biggest enemy. 2 weeks ago, Balmain exploited it, recovering from a huge half-time deficit for a draw. But one thing is guaranteed when Canberra play: entertainment. Live from Caltex Field, it's the Cronulla Sharks versus the Canberra Raiders.
Hello everyone, welcome to everyone right around Australia, and I know there's some Sharks supporters watching today in Hong Kong as well. Now downstairs, Big Artie Beetson is plotting revenge over the Canberra Raiders. Upstairs we've got Benny Elias. Welcome along again, Benny.
Thanks again, Warren. Nice to be here.
Now we saw last week just how good Canberra can be when they defeated Brisbane, but 2 weeks ago the Tigers managed a draw. How do you go about beating Canberra?
Well, Warren, I think Canberra play a very much sliding type defence, and I think if Cronulla pass the ball, they turn the ball inside. If they can get them turning the ball inside, I think that they're half a chance. Cronulla's strength, I believe, is in their forwards. You know, they're very strong in the forwards. They've got more experienced players in the forwards, and Eddinghausen now at 5'8", I think, has really found himself the right position and really is causing the opposition a lot of trouble.
The Sharks haven't played at home for 3 weeks, and they are a very good side here at Caltex Field, and I think today they're really going to throw it at Canberra. Canberra don't have a very good record here.
No, that's right. You know, Canberra haven't won here since '87, and it's very, you know, interesting to know, you know, the players now, I think, will repay Arthur Beetson the best way they know how, and that's out in that football paddock where they really can answer all their critics, and it's basically a way of saying thanks, Artie, and that's why out in that paddock, and no other better way than causing a major upset here this afternoon against Canberra.
Absolutely, yeah. The bottom sides, not that Cronulla really are down the bottom, but they always love to knock off one of those top guns, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're a spoiling type. They have a spoiling type of defence, and out here at Caltex Field, where they're renowned for tremendous upsets, I think, in the past. So I think, you know, it's not going to be a foregone conclusion. We've got tremendous entertainment here this afternoon with Canberra. I think with their back line, it'll be great.
Well, here are the Sharks out onto the field, and their lineup goes like this. Young Ben Samet at fullback, Lindsay Bowen on one wing, Chris Quinn and Paul Bell in the centres, Paul Evans the other winger, Andrew Eddinghausen at 5'8", Mitch Healy, really he is the key at halfback, has been in tremendous form, Andrew Pearce at lock forward, Les Davidson and Dan Staines in the second row, Robbie Kearns, Aaron Raper and Danny Lee in the engine room. And there's E.T. He's been playing at 5'8", over the last couple of months after experiments at fullback and centre over the last couple of years in the Cronulla side, but he really has settled into the 5'8" role alongside Mitch Healy. And Dan Staines missed last week. He's the skipper. Here come the Raiders, a team in superb form through most of this season. A slight hiccup when they allowed Balmain back into that game 2 weeks ago. But a very important game if they are to secure a top 3 spot. Gary Belcher is at fullback, Noah Nandruku on the wing, Mal Meninga and Brett Mullins the centres, Sean Hoppy the other winger, Laurie Daly at 5'8", Ricky Stewart at halfback. What a backline it is. Jason Croker at lock forward with Brad Clyde still a couple of weeks away, Quentin Pongia and David Furner in the second row, John Lomax, Steve Walters, Paul Osborne up front, and on the sideline today, Johnny Peard.
G'day, Warren. Well, very still conditions here for this game. Now, the Sharks, not many people are giving them a chance, but upsets usually occur in rugby league when the favoured side goes in a little bit mentally underdone, and this could happen with Canberra today. They had a big win last week over Brisbane, so that's the Sharks' chance today. Earlier today, we had a game between the golden oldies of the Cronulla Sharks. We had there's Tommy Bishop offside about 3 miles and showing his usual aggression. Chris Wellman in there, that's the number 6, but this was a game. He's got 10 minutes for it. He's not too happy, but he'll just sneak back onside. No one will notice him. But this was a game between, this is the Golden Pointers. They were a composite side of Cronulla players that have represented the club over the years. And there's a big tackle by Rick Burke. He played, that's the number 3. He played fullback in the 1973 grand final, but there's Tony Graham moving the ball around. Still got some of the old skills. There's Brian Cox. And here's Tommy Bishop, a mile offside, picking up a pass. He flicks it back to Chris Gardner, inside to Chris Wellman. and Chris Wellman's tackle, but this was a side that was considered the best ever in Cronulla's history, the ones with the ball now. And there's Bishop.
It was great to see, John. Some fantastic performances there by some of the golden oldies of Cronulla over the last 20 years. Referee for this match is Eddie Ward. We've had Eddie for a number of Saturday matches lately. Cool, calm conditions. In fact, perfect for a game of football. And the surface here at Caltex Field also in pretty good nick as Danny Lee brings it back. And we would expect to see Cronulla fired up. And they've got a backline set here right across to the wing, and here they go immediately, swinging it wide, attacking from their own quarter. And if that's the tactics to start the game, well, they've put the match plan into practice.
Well, that's right, Warren. Cronulla have nothing to lose here this afternoon. They're playing for, I think they're playing for credibility and for, I think, for Artie this afternoon more than anything. No one expects them to win. They believe in themselves, and I reckon they're going to have a big show here this afternoon, especially this bloke here, Les Davison. He's been playing tremendous football of late.
It'll be interesting to see if the tactics continue for 80 minutes. You were talking about beating Canberra by turning the ball inside. Recently, Alan Jones was saying that you can beat Canberra by playing their own game back at them, by throwing it to the wings and moving them around. And there's Ben Samet kicking downfield to Gary Belcher. After copping a bit of criticism a couple of weeks ago, Gary Belcher has bounced back. Mind you, the criticism you would think was, the way it's been reported, was as if it was coming from the media. It seemed to me it was coming from inside the Raiders camp, maybe even from the coach. But if there was any doubts about his ability, he has bounced back. Here's John Lomax, 8 metres short of halfway.
These are the games, the one you expect to win for Canberra. I mean, they're expected to win here this afternoon. They're the most difficult ones. You've got to get enthusiastic, and you've really got to play for, well, you know, I mean, they're playing for a top 3 spot. So, you know, it's going to be tough.
Ricky Stewart puts it down into the corner, and Lindsay Bound brings it back. It's a very young Cronulla lineup, particularly in the back line, but they've been showing plenty of spark lately. David Furner powers up and takes Samet, the fullback, down. Raper, they swing it wide through Evans, and trying to bust tackles out there is Danny Staines. Just short of the 20. Now Danny Lee goes up the blind side. And he put a foot into touch. Looked as if he was well in field. The tackle must have just carried him too close to that line.
Yeah, well, down here trying to utilise the short blind side. One of those unfortunate, yeah, just like...
Well, Brett Mullins pulled his feet around onto the touchline.
A lot of trouble out there. Dan Staines seems to be limping. It's a big problem if he has to come off, captain.
Now Lomax with Daly coming around him. Stewart bounces away from Raper. Meninga quickly onto Belcher. Good passing by Canberra. They're 20 metres out. Hoppy goes himself. Taken by Kearns. Still only 18 out. Osborne.
Well, there's no support for Osborne. I mean, Canberra have got to start getting enthusiastic and support the play.
Well, they can go either way here. Stewart spins it out to no one. Nandruku picks it up. Pops a pass to Croker. Croker down the touchline. Over in the corner. Well, how did he get away? Cronulla seemed to have it covered after the loose pass was picked up by Nandruku. And really, Jason Croker should have been caught on that touchline. Canberra score, what you'd have to say was a soft try. It's 4 points to 0. Certainly they moved the ball wide, but Cronulla had 3 defenders there. Stewart, I don't know who he intended to pick up, but Nandruku picked it up nicely from his feet. And the winger there, Lindsay Bound, came in on Nandruku. I suppose he figures I'm man on man with my winger, but he should have read the play better.
Yeah, well, Canberra are very good here. They worked to the middle. They had 2 options either side of the field. That pass went astray. That did play around with the Cronulla defence, and Eddinghausen, they're unfortunate, couldn't get across to that cover defence early enough.
Yeah, Ricky Stewart had plenty of men outside. Well, he usually finds them, but that was beautiful hands by Nandruku.
He drew 2 players in beautifully there.
Great support play too by Jason Croker, the lock forward. He's a tremendous utility player, and they celebrate. They won't want to celebrate too much. An early try early in the game can sometimes make you relax. Croker, who's a great utility player, played wing 5/8, now in the forwards. David Furner from the touchline with a 60% success rate. It's a difficult one. It looks good. It's a great kick, fading off the upright and in. And Canberra leads 6 points to 0. Just a couple of minutes of play gone.
Very handy start there, Warren.
Osborne took the ball up just to create some yards out wide. This was probably meant for Pongia, that pass, but Ndruka did well. He knew that Croker was coming around the back. Good awareness there. And Croker's got a lot of speed. I think Bound came in unnecessarily, but he probably thought that Ndruka's his man.
There's Croker bringing it back. The try scorer trying to lead with his shoulder, and Canberra back inside their own 20. So after only 4 minutes of play, the Raiders post their first try of the match. It does sometimes happen. I can remember earlier this season we had a match between Canberra and Parramatta where Canberra started out. They blitzed the Eels. They were on fire. They looked as if they were going to go 50-0, and all of a sudden Parramatta came right back at them and went on with it. Here's Mullins chasing the kick. Finds touch just inside the Cronulla half.
Well, this is going to pose the Sharkies a lot of trouble. Ricky Stewart's kicking game, he's certainly, he's the finest in the game, without a doubt, and really turning the Cronulla Sharks back all the time is certainly a frustrating affair. But Eddinghausen going into the lock 4 position here from the scrum. Interesting to note.
And Les Davidson moves out into the back line. You can expect him to get the ball. Here he is. And he gives Daly something to think about, pops it back to Samet, and he is elusive. He skips away from one tackle.
That's good positive stuff by Cronulla. Davidson's always been good at offloading. That's why he was put 3 passes wide. There were 2 passes off the scrum. They knew he was going to pop a ball. Good tactics.
Canberra make you pay, don't they? Danny Lee went over the touchline, and the next set of 6 from the scrum, they score a try. Oh, a heavy tackle comes in on Andrew Pearce.
A little bit high.
No reaction from Eddie Ward or the touch judge. And there was Meninga and Stewart both grabbing across the top of the shoulders. Didn't do too much damage, though. Robbie Kearns. Surprised in the last couple of weeks there have been quite a few high tackles being allowed to go on without anything more than a penalty. And here is a penalty going to Cronulla. It's against Laurie Daly, holding down in the tackle.
These are the things that players and coaches hate, getting penalised on the 6th tackle.
Let's take a look at the for and against records for these two teams. You see there that Canberra superior in both categories. Canberra the best attacking side in the competition with the 5th best defensive record, and Cronulla down the ladder. In fact, their position on the ladder a little better than their for and against would indicate. So they've won a few games narrowly. Here's Dan Staines taking it forward. They're only 15 out here, Cronulla. On the blind side, cut out ball goes to Lee as it went straight across the face of Davidson. Here's Mitch Healy. He almost breaks the tackle of Pongia. In fact, he does, but inside Lomax got him. Raper, Staines, Eddinghausen. Out to Bell. Bell flicks it back inside for Bound. He puts it down. I thought it went forward. Referee Ward said it was okay. Last tackle coming up to Raper. Up high, coming down near the post. This will test Belcher. Up they go. It's anyone's ball. Healy's got it. It's going to be a try. The referee checks with the in goal, says fair try to Mitch Healy. So Cronulla hit back in the 8th minute. It's 6-4 with a kick to come. Canberra in front, but the score should be level after Mitch Healy attempts to convert his own try. Good backup, but it was always on as Aaron Raper put up a perfect bomb. Plenty of time for players to get through, to challenge high for it. Anyone's ball, close to the post. Look, Gary Belcher couldn't even get to it because of the upright, and Mitch Healy standing 5 metres away picks it up.
Well, that's the perfect bomb, isn't it, Warren? Aaron Raper, I'm a very big fan of Aaron Raper. He's certainly a great up-and-coming player who's been a great find here for Cronulla. It's a perfect bomb. It hits the upright, ricochets, and there's a 4-pointer.
That was the last tackle. The previous pass was dropped by Lindsay Bound. The referee thought it was okay. It was play on, and there it is. Off the padding on the post as Gary Belcher came forward. Mitch Healy there to pick up the scraps. And Healy is having a great season for Canberra. He's the 7th highest point scorer in a team that's been struggling. And he has played fullback, hooker, 5'8", halfback. He really is another utility player. We're talking about Jason Croker, the value of players who are so versatile.
Absolutely, and it's all. I'm a great believer of when you're in that territory. It's always a great ploy to put the high ball up. It comes down, it's a 50-50 chance, and actually, you either get the ball back or there's a mistake rendered.
Healy has kicked 38 from 58. He's kicked 2/3 of all his attempts this season. This is pretty close to the posts. And the scores are level. It's 6 points all. And it looks as if the ball is going to move around this paddock today.
It's still the best option down at this end of the paddock, particularly if the kick's a good one. And look at Raper. He's really put some height in there. The chase was excellent. Anything can happen. It's come off the protective padding. Belcher had no chance. The scraps man there was heeling. He's gone over for a try. Good tactics. Once they get down there, just keep putting the ball up.
And the man who invented the bomb.
Well, it's pretty hard to defend against, isn't it, Benny?
I always think it's a great option.
Well, Danny Lee brings it up, and he took on Daly with a big shoulder and bumped Daly off, but tenacious Laurie Daly came again to hang onto a leg. Now Eddinghausen swings it wide. Paul Bell with the ball. Canberra's defence equal to the task that time as Meninga got across with Croker.
It's good positive play, Warren. They're starting to move balls around their own quarter. That's good enthusiasm and good positive play by the Cronulla side.
They're going wide again. And Robbie Kearns steams up the middle and finds a little bit of a hole in the Canberra defence. Osborne just covered it up in time. Quick play the ball, quick hands as Staines gets it out to the fullback Samet, who really does add another string to their bow. He is a fine attacking player, and now Belcher right on his line gathers it in. Play swinging from one end to the other. Good defence by Bell down there on the fullback. Now Nandruku. We check the earlier games today as Nandruku goes across field and gets outside them. And he managed to beat a couple of tackles. Now he's in trouble. He's put over the touchline. Great defence in the end as Nandruku went a little bit too far. There's a good chase from Healy, among others. Nandruku there pushing away from Healy, but Healy continued the chase. He got away from Quinn, but then ran into trouble on the far side from Evans and Healy, who got there again.
One thing about being here at Caltex Field, the Cronulla supporters really do get behind their side.
Now here's Davidson, 30 metres out, and he flicks it back again to Samet. The Sharks right on the attacker. Samet shows a good right foot step. Almost busted the tackle, which would have seen him go clean through. Right back by Steve Walters is a smart piece of football. And Benny Elias, you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, well, that was desperation stakes there for Canberra and a lot of pressure, and that's one against the head. They're very valuable when you can do things of that calibre.
Well, now we might be able to check those early games, and there were a few upsets. In the under-21s, Canberra defeated Cronulla. Cronulla on top of the ladder in President's Cup. 12-4 the score. Now a loose ball, but Bell goes without it, and that will force a scrum. In reserve grade, another upset with Cronulla defeating Canberra 24-22, and Canberra were on the edge of the top 5, and that loss will hurt them.
And one of the good game. That was a great game of football, that.
As Healy gets it out to Eddinghausen, back to Davidson again. There's the offload to Raper, to Eddinghausen. This tactic of using Les Davidson is working.
Hey, Raper got out of there nice and smartly, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the winger was packed into the scrum.
I think he packed in the back row.
Artie's trying some experiments, I think, John.
No, he's doing well. They're all positive. Good on them.
Healy to Eddinghausen, to Davidson. Well, if they can keep up this intensity for 80 minutes, Cronulla are really going to give this game a shake. Not only the intensity, the skill level is very high. Davidson tackle 10 metres out. Raper looking inside. Eddinghausen was there, but he lost it as he was knocked by Pongia. Referee says it was also knocked forward by Canberra, and much to the Canberra players' surprise.
It'll be a Cronulla feed, I think, Warren.
Yeah, very fortuitous there for Cronulla.
I thought David Fern had picked it up cleanly, but
it was a tough call.
The ref had a good look at it. It was right at his fingertips. Healy goes away. They've got 6 tackles here from...
He should have gone inside then. Saloon passage.
Only 5 out. Staines, he's lost it too. Into the in-goal area. And that should be a scrum for the knock-on. 10 metres out. Dan Staines simply lost it here. He was hit by Osborne, but the ball popped out.
Yeah, good defence there by Osborne.
A scrum that Canberra need to win and do. Daly comes away with it. Stewart forced to go himself. Where are his forwards? Why didn't he use them if they're there? Now Furner has a go. Makes 10 metres. Quick play the ball as he bounces up to his feet smartly. Steve Walters. He gets another 10. Pops it back to Stewart. He gets it to Furner. Out now to Mullins, but they're going nowhere. Mullins tries to straighten it up, but the defence was set. Daly to Furner on the blind side. David Furner making good ground, but he needs Lomax and Osborne to get in there and make those hard yards. Daly's kick bouncing out towards Evans. Chased by Hoppy and taken to ground. Paul Evans on that far wing. Cops a bit of treatment from Hoppy. Healy out to Bowen in from the far wing. Croker's up on him and rolls him over, slams him on his back. And that slows that play the ball down. Healy. Raper cut out Davidson to give it to Lee. I think Les Davidson thought he was getting that one. He was on the fly. Kearns takes on Walters. He's lost it. And the ref will play the knock on. He managed to regather, so Cronulla adventurous in trying to get passes away, but a few of them coming unstuck.
Well, when you do things of that calibre, you ought to expect the mistake rate to be there. Cronulla are very impressive. Their support play is first class, whereas Canberra getting out of trouble seem to rely a lot on their backs to get them out. I mean, Ricky Stewart taking the ball up, and then Mullins moving in there.
16 minutes of play gone. It's 6-all between Canberra and Cronulla as Daly hunts wide. Now he gives it to Mullins. And Evans had come in, but Hoppy wasn't able to get the pass from Mullins. Penalty to Canberra against Chris Quinn, knocking him down as he was trying to play the ball. Mullins fighting to his feet. He took a bit of a dive, didn't he?
And a real good look at the ref.
They're only 20 out as they take the tap. Osborne. Hit by Kearns, who rolls backwards. Stewart, Hoppy, almost through. Davidson just managed to hang on to him. Walters, only 5 out, Steve Walters. Stewart, long ball for Daly. He gets it wide to Meninga. He shows it inside, goes out to Hoppy. Comes off the touchline. 12 metres out. Still a couple of tackles to go. Stewart looking wide, but he couldn't find his target. They all got in his road. Last tackle coming up now. Daly might kick for Ndruku. Here he does. He flies through. Lindsay Bowen takes it in the field of play. Tries to get back out of the in goal, into touch. So in the end, it was a fairly poor result. But having taken it in the field of play, I guess he really had no choice.
No, it's a good result for Canberra here. Great kick here by Laurie Daly. Puts a lot of pressure on, and Ndruku comes through and unfortunately can't get the ball, but...
Good tackle by Croker.
Very good defence.
Canberra scrum feed. Stewart. Daly. What'll he work this time? Dummies to 2. Goes himself to Belcher up in the line. 1-on-1. It's Hoppy for the corner. Hoppy over. Hoppy scrambles over. Referee awards the try. The injection of Gary Belcher from fullback as the 2 centres went inside on the decoy run. Daly linked up with his fullback, and that enabled Hoppy to just get outside Paul Evans on the wing. Simple play, but beautifully executed. There goes Meninga, there goes Mullins, kept a bit of defence inside. Belcher makes the extra man. Number 5 against number 5, and Hoppy, though knocked over, scrambles to the line.
Well, you can't allow Canberra to have 2 sets of 6 in your own 22. They're devastating out wide, as we saw there. Belcher made the extra man by coming into the line, and Hoppy, plenty of confidence in his own speed, gets a good 4-pointer.
In fact, I suppose we should say that Belcher doesn't actually make an extra man. He makes it 3-on-3, but they just had the pace to get outside them. And I suppose, in the end, Evans was at fault, but he just got too far inside Hoppy, and credit to Hoppy. He's fast, he's powerful. The New Zealand winger, who started out representing in '92 against PNG and Great Britain, and then, of course, against Australia this year. David Furner kicked his first shot from an identical position on the other side of the field. So this, will it come around? A great kick from David Furner. 2 out of 2, both of them very hard shots. It's 12-6 in favour of the Raiders.
What a great confidence booster that is.
Yeah, look at Laurie Daly. He slots across field here. There's players coming inside. It's still 3-on-3. Evans is just beaten for pace with Hoppy, but Laurie Dale is causing all sorts of problems because if you go to him quickly, he'll play anyway. So he'll put a ball inside if you want to come out of the line at him.
These two sides have met 23 times since 1967 when Cronulla entered the... Well, in fact, when Canberra entered the competition in 1982. Of course, Cronulla started in 67 and Canberra won 14 of those 23 meetings. So both two of the newer clubs, and Canberra have certainly made their mark in a short time with 4 grand final appearances. Belcher. Pongia, and the pass was forward. The player got in the road of Brett Mullins, that marker, and he held the pass up trying to swing it around the Cronulla player, and the pass went forward. Only just, I think that we might have been okay. The referees, now that they're back 10 metres, it's difficult to judge, and I believe they've been told to crack down on forward passes from the dummy half. Now Bell slips over, Meninga picks it up. Very simple error by Cronulla on the first tackle. And away comes Walters. Stewart to Meninga. Only 13 metres out. Canberra have had most of the field position. They've been in this area quite a few times already as Lomax tries to swivel out of the tackle. 8 out now. Stewart to the blind side. Pops it to Osborne, on it goes to Croker. Croker for the line, fighting for his second try. And gets it down. And Jason Croker, the right man in the right place. The second time he's scored already in this match. It's 16-6 all of a sudden to Canberra after it's been a fairly even match. The Raiders suddenly putting on their third try. Lomax taking it forward. Stewart is positioned on the open side here. He suddenly cuts across the ruck. Picks up Osborne, a beautiful quick pass from Paul Osborne, and Croker fights over in the tackle of Eddinghausen.
Yeah, Ricky Stewart here makes the play. He comes from one side of the ruck to the other, cuts out a player, gives it to Osborne, who gives a great ball there to Croker. And his strength just gets him over.
Gary Belcher comes through as a decoy, and that holds Eddinghausen in close there. And Croker just slipping through that small hole created on the outside of Osborne. But fitting into the team combination perfectly. Jason Croker, seventh try.
Must be tough for him, Warren, knowing that Bradley Clyde's on the sideline coming back any moment, and he's playing some tremendous football.
Now Furner could be using the same mount he had for the earlier kick. First 2 kicks have been beauties. And this one might not have the legs. Just goes wide as well. He didn't hit that as sweetly. Canberra suddenly race away, 16 points to 6.
Here's Ricky Stewart transferring himself from one side of the ruck. That was the pass that put it on Osborne, but Bound came in on Croker and missed him. He could have saved that situation. He could have come off his wing and got Croker, but Croker's strength was handy in the end.
Cronulla put themselves under a lot of pressure by simple mistakes.
Benny, that's the third error that Cronulla have made, and Canberra have punished them severely.
Yeah. That's probably the difference between Cronulla and the likes of a Brisbane or Canberra. Those two top sides throw the ball around, but the passes find their mark. Cronulla trying to play them at their own game, but haven't been able to make the passes stick.
Yeah, Warren, if Canberra made an error in their own quarter, you know, the Sharks would be up there doing something, but they haven't got the talent that Canberra have. Canberra and Brisbane, you make a mistake in your quarter, gee, they make you pay for it.
Here's Meninga now. Pops a beautiful pass to Croker. Away goes Pongia. He sprints away from Dan Staines, who must have pulled a muscle because he just couldn't chase. Surely Quentin Pongia's not as fast as to leave Dan Staines standing the way he did, but beautiful football by Canberra. And what was looking to be a very competitive game has suddenly turned into a rout. Canberra 20, Cronulla 6. Here they go again, the Raiders. Paul Osborne sights the little hole, got his arm through beautifully. Meninga fired a wonderful pass inside to Croker, quickly on to Pongia, and he sprints away with ease. There was no more cover, but a couple of beautiful passes to start this here.
Yeah, Paul Osborne's been very much involved in a lot of these tries. Mal Meninga always present. Their support plays now is first class. I mean, they've got tremendous confidence. They're throwing the ball around, and when you do that, anything just happens. Great try.
And look at the work here of the big front row as he throws his arms up and over. And Croker is in everything, isn't he?
Yeah, look, that's confidence in each other. When you can just throw the ball around and you know, and knowing that your player's going to be there is certainly a great plus.
3 tries in 6 minutes for Canberra. And Pongia scoring his second. He's just come back from suspension.
It's been a very good buy for Canberra.
Compared to his first 3 kicks, this was dead set easy for David Furner. This is about 10 metres off centre field. Very gloomy conditions here. And he misses. Can you believe it? The last kick must have knocked his confidence around. But not his sides. It's 20 points to 6 in favour of the Raiders.
The problem is the Sharks didn't go to Osborne. Look at the room he had. And Bell probably should have come in on him. He had too much room given by Kearns. And then some very good interaction of passes there. Transferred to the eventual try scorer. A good effort, but a great pass by Osborne.
And Canberra bring it back through Hoppy.
Cronulla aren't putting their players on the ground. They've got to put the player on the ground. It's not allowing their defence to get it set.
That's a better tackle by Kearns, but now they give away the penalty as Raper came in to help out. They held him down, and the touch judge also in to report some incident. And they're going to call up Danny Lee. Must have been the previous tackle on Hoppy, I believe. As Danny Lee has been in great form. There it is. Danny Lee involved in that tackle. Can't see him doing too much. Maybe it was something else that happened. Here it is, the penalty. Raper leaning over the top.
Warren, you're not allowed to grab anyone under the crutch now. No,
now?
You are. No, regardless of whether you lift them or you're not allowed to grab them. That's a ruling from the league. That's a good rule too. Because there's not much defence on that, is there?
Well, it's good for the future generations of rugby league too, John.
Hey, Osborne be feeling real good about himself. Two passes for 2 tries. He'd be proud of himself, and his mum would be real proud too, I'd say.
He'd be pretty happy with scoring a try against Brisbane the other week too. Here he is diving forward to take a pass which was a little low, so he's got all the skills here, Ozzy Osborne, but he's been hurt.
Yeah, he's gone, I think. He just told the trainer that maybe he might have to come off for a while.
6 hit-ups for Paul Osborne as he leaves the field. Croker gets the hands back to Furner. Stewart. Lomax straightens it up. Couldn't find his back line when he needed it. Good tackle by Lee. Now Stewart. They're very quick, this Canberra side. On it goes to Meninga. Pops a kick through. Samet gathers it in. Gets away from Croker. Belcher's got him by an arm. And as David Wesley, number 41, comes hurtling in, Samet just got underneath him. Now Craig Diamond for Cronulla.
Canberra have so much strike power out wide. It really is a major threat for your opposition every time they throw that ball wide.
Osborne's aggravated an old shoulder injury.
Well, that's bad luck. You started the game in fine fashion. And now the referee is going to call Cronulla back here. Must have been a knock-on in the dummy half area, wasn't it?
He just dropped the ball. Warren, just see you picking it up.
And that's another area they just can't afford to make.
We've been down here before making errors.
5 for the scrums in favour of the Sharks. None against the feed so far. That evens it up. Belcher works the blind side. No wonder Craig Diamond had a very close eye on Ndruku. Here he is, the winger's in. Good defence that time. And Lee, Raper and Healy. Wesley. He too manages to fight his arms free. He was almost ready to pass. Only 6 metres out. A try here will absolutely silence Cronulla. Meninga. Mullins. still not far out. Meninga shoves one out of his road. He got rid of Quinn. Out now to Hoppy. They managed to hold him. They've got one tackle more. Stewart kicks high across field. Belcher and Andruka are out there. Diamond. Belcher goes up high. And who's got it? Diamond is... It is a try. It is a try. I thought that Diamond had managed to impede him somehow. But from the front on shot...
Well, he was sure of that. He was sure they didn't even look for the in-goal touch touch judge.
24-6. As a beautiful kick across field. Belcher had positioned himself out there. It was a set plan. It looked as if Diamond had it, but out it came, and Mandruku has scored the try.
And doesn't he love scoring tries?
From this angle, I thought that Diamond had come down with it, but as we can see on the head-on...
There's the second try we've seen from the high ball. And when you've got chases like that, it's always going to be a major threat.
Gary Belcher went right up high over the top of Diamond, but Diamond actually came down with it. But really, there needed to be more Cronulla players coming across to help him out.
It's a very interesting ploy, that. The high kick across field. The Broncos do it very well with Langer and Khan and Langer and Hancock. Yeah, it's a great...
Particularly Willie Khan loves them, and you can see that Belcher and Andruka do as well.
And this
17 tries.
He'd have to be the buy of the year, wouldn't he? He'd have to be the buy of the year, that bloke.
Now Furner. This is where he missed from a moment ago. He's getting plenty of shots from the same positions on the paddock. And off the upright for the second time in the game and bounces in. He's having a checkered career with his kicking so far today, David Furner, but it's all Canberra. It's 26-6, and we've got 9 minutes till half-time.
Well, look at the width that Canberra got anyway. Those chases right here on the wing. And it's to their advantage. Look, Belcher tried to get over the top of Craig Diamond. Craig Diamond made an error, but you've got a real start on players when you can leap over the top of them. Poor old Diamond he was stuck to his heels, really, but he did make the error of dropping the ball.
We checked the total tackles so far in the match. Look at this. Cronulla have been forced to do almost double the defence of Canberra. But that's a result of their own errors. Cronulla started the game so well, but then fell into error. 16-6, the total error count. Cronulla have missed 9 tackles. They've handed over possession once, and they've dropped the ball another 6 times. Lomax back to Meninga. He's lost the ball. It was knocked out of his hands, and he doesn't like the tackle of Diamond. I didn't see anything wrong, and there's a...
Look at Noah.
Johnny Lomax involved there with another Cronulla player. I didn't know whether Meninga had any right to reject this tackle, as it was knocked out of his hands there by Davidson. And just on the right-hand side, Diamond and Meninga went on with it.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't like to be lining up the Mel.
Well, Craig Diamond has just come back from suspension himself, sent off against Brisbane a month ago. And Mal Meninga doesn't like the report the touch judge is giving. Now, what's the decision here? Penalty goes to Canberra. Now just watch Meninga as he runs into Diamond here. Oh, he might have got a little bit of a high shot. And as they went to ground, Meninga started, well, throwing some half-hearted punches. Canberra got the decision on the touch judge report. So Craig Diamond might need to watch himself. Nandruku, the decoy, it goes to Pongia instead. It's the South Pacific connection that's made all the difference for Canberra this year. Pongia, Lomax and Nandruku. Not to take anything away from the rest of the team, but that's the difference from last year. And now Canberra have lost it, Wesley losing it.
Well, the crowd are pleading, why didn't you play the advantage?
The ball squirting out there in the tackle of Lee. And I don't know why he didn't play the advantage either.
Possibly because the tackle had been completed, Warren.
Healy's got it. And on the blind side, trying to link up with Quinn. Staines.
What does Big Artie say to him at half-time?
Well, first thing he might say is play it down the other end when he sees the metres gained, 3:45 to 6:20, and Canberra have had more ball as well. And now a penalty against the Raiders. Kroger and Wesley holding Cronulla down. Over the top, Kroger, Wesley underneath, and Wesley the main culprit.
Wait for it. No good, Eddie.
Eddinghausen. Lee. The main reason Cronulla have been in their own territory is not playing out sets of 6 and not putting kicks away. Here's Diamond. Kearns. And Pongia didn't shrink from his task. He stopped him. Healy tries to fend off Wesley, but Walters helps out. They're only 18 metres out here, the Sharks. Staines pops it through. It bounces off Daly. A chance here as Quinn comes racing through. They've got 6 more tackles. From the rebound.
Oh, and he's knocked it on.
Well, Cronulla puzzled here. And
now, well, what he's done, he's looked to the side, he's looked to the linesman for assistance, and the linesman's told him that with the rebound, he has knocked it on. Prior to the rebound, the first was a rebound, the second one was a knock on.
I don't know
Said
whether
it came off Staines. Staines knocked it forward.
I don't know whether Laurie Daly really played at that ball either. They got 6 more. So Stewart now with the ball. Poppy, 20 metres out from his own post. Furner now. Of course, Canberra, having seen Brisbane put on 50 points last night, would be keen to keep their for and against rolling. At the moment, Canberra way out in front on the for and against record. The difference between their attack and defence is 241, and the nearest is Canterbury, 194. Now, another error is the game just falling away a little.
Yeah, it's very important that Cronulla get back into this game. If they can get a try before half-time, give them some hope at half-time for a resurge in the second half. It's very funny, you know, like, it's unusual that every Canberra forward has hit the ball up at least 5 times. I mean, they're sharing the workload, which is a great plus for, you know, for the overall side. Not one player's doing more than the other. It's sort of they all share the workload.
20 metres out, Cronulla. Canberra with the compact defence. Oh, bad mistake by Paul Bell. Eddinghausen had given him the pass and was wrapping around. Bell probably had his mind on getting it back to Eddinghausen here.
That was on the way round with the ball. It'd be far better just to pass and wait and try and use his pace, but Bell took his eyes off the ball.
They slotted Mal Meninga into the 5'8" position from the scrum.
He goes himself. 3 of them come in to take care of him. Now what will they do with the next tackle? Oh no, just out of dummy half. Back to Walters.
This is hurting Cronulla a little, the way that Canberra's starting to offload in tackles. You use up a lot of petrol if you're consistently trying to shut the ball down.
Pongia bounces away from Eddinghausen and Bell, but they come again. Lee. Lomax up the blind side. He's strong. Stewart elects to kick and finds touch. That time Ricky Stewart happy to play the percentages rather than the adventurous game.
Yeah, I think Canberra just getting back to playing their sets of 6 and playing at their pace now. They're in control of this game, and Ricky Stewart there just thought he'd slow it down a little by putting it into touch.
Not long till half-time. 26-6 in favour of the Raiders. Eddinghausen to Samet. And Belcher rides him to ground. Kearns. Ankle tap by Mullins. In fact, this was Robbie Kearns this time. Previous runner was Quinn. Now the penalty against Wesley.
Penalties now 3-all.
Here's Wesley, just comes in late with a flop, and he's already been spoken to before. The second time he's conceded a penalty for the late tackle. And
yeah, that's a good decision too by
unnecessary tackle. He's just showing his inexperience, David Wesley, compared to the rest of the Canberra players. They slow you down, but they don't go on with it too far.
They got it down to a T.
A chance for Canberra, I should say for Cronulla here, with only a few seconds till half-time. And referee Ward telling them to get back to their goal line. They're saying, but the tap is 2 metres, 12 metres out, 2 metres beyond the 10-metre line. So why have we got to go back? Half-time siren goes. Eddinghausen puts it up high. It's a pretty useful kick too. They're through underneath it. Up goes Bill. Canberra have got it though through Mullins. Mandruku quickly swinging out wide in case he could get the ball to him. But that's half-time. And in some ways disappointing because it started out in great fashion as if Cronulla could really take this game to Canberra. But the Raiders have smashed their way back into the game with 5 tries to 1. And it's 26-6 at the break.
This is your Saturday afternoon of sports, bringing you live rugby league action at its best on ABC, your national network. And we'll be back for the second half shortly. Let's bring you up to date with the AFL matches being played today. Essendon and Footscray. Essendon just in front, and Derek Kickett now has 7 goals for the Bombers. Carlton and St Kilda. St Kilda, well, out to 20-point lead now, so they're going extremely well. Just before the league started, we were able to show you race 5 from Sydney, from Sandown, the Moondale Plate. And there are the placings that we weren't able to give you. Silver Neon at 8-1, Palace Rain at 6-1, and Chemin de Fer at 13-4. Now, the Rugby Union International that's happening up at Ballymore. It was 10-all at half-time, both sides having scored a try apiece in the first half. Let's have a look at them now.
22 there into the ground. To the back of the line out the ball goes. Australia win it at the Springbok throw. They bring in Katusi again. Stransky will go the length of the field and nail Australia with a try under the posts. What a brilliant try. Bar Jones, 4th phase. Foran, they loop. Little, Jason Little. That try is a gem.
A couple of nice tries there. Now, international football happening all over the place because tomorrow afternoon at the football stadium in Sydney, Australia meets Canada in their return World Cup soccer qualifier. And for the Socceroos, only a win will do. On the eve of such a big match, it's good of coach Eddie Thompson to join us. Eddie, the nerves are there for players and coach, I'm sure.
Yeah, things are getting a bit tense here just now. We've had a light training run this morning and the lads are just relaxing, watching a bit of television, but we're pretty keyed up for the game.
You delayed announcing the team until yesterday. Take us through what were the tough selections for you.
Well, the centre-back position between Dominic Longo and Mehmet Durakovic, it was a toss of the coin, and it was really a tactical move that Mehmet got the nod on top of Dominic, and then we brought in Ned Zelic into midfield because Paul Ocon was injured. And then Milan Ivanovic will come in at sweeper, which he's an excellent defender and a good player, so I think it's a slightly stronger side than last week.
So we saw Ned Zelic doing lots of damage in the midfield against the Dutch. I guess you're hoping for that kind of effort again.
Yeah, well, he's a bit further forward this time. I'm sure Canada will have somebody on him, but we've got a few things up our sleeve that we can get enough possession to Ned because, I mean, he got us the goal last week and he's a very dangerous player.
You need a 1-0 result or better. Is it dangerous going into a game thinking of a particular result?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're going to play it as it comes. If we're getting on top and that, we'll go for our life. And if we've got to defend, if they get on top of us, then we've just got to adjust a bit. But we're not going to any preconceived ideas that we're going to score the first minute or the 5th minute or the 10th minute. We're just going to play it as it comes.
And I guess you know the Canadians a little better than, say, a few weeks ago. Where do you feel you can dominate them?
Well, I think we've got a bit of extra height, I think, in the midfield and with our front men and that as well. Also, last week, having the 10 men, it was really, really blustery conditions, windy conditions. And I feel that this week that the Slaters and Arnolds, Farinas can concentrate on attack instead of defence.
You have to score, and the Canadians don't. I guess there's some pressure for you to get a goal in early. I know you say you're not thinking of a time span, but you know, the longer the game goes, the greater the pressure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, but our last game against the Kiwis, we knocked in 2 goals the first 3 minutes. If we'd done that again, I'd be more than happy.
maybe this isn't something you like to dwell on, but I guess for Eddie Thompson, this is the biggest match of your career. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, but I mean, coaches, every game's our biggest game. You know, we've been through the Olympic Games, we've been through the qualifiers already. I mean, New Zealand was a big game, and this is just another big game for us. And I'll be coaching the same way as I normally coach.
And to that end, you have to talk the importance of the game down a little to make sure the guys aren't too hyped up?
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you've got to give them a bit of a jab, and sometimes you've got to relax them. They're pretty keyed up just now, you know, so there's not much talk about the game. I mean, we're relaxing, watching a bit of league, a bit of union. We'll be having a look at a few movies tonight, and before the game, we'll stir them up again.
Well, let's assume the best possible result, 1-0 or 3-0 or 5-0, and you'd be off to Central or South America. Is that the next step?
Yeah, South America, either Argentina, Paraguay, Peru or Colombia. So it's a pretty tough one, but all eyes are on Canada just now.
And you have a different referee this time, a man from Japan. Are you happier about that?
Yeah. Well, I think if you're playing in CONCACAF, you shouldn't have a CONCACAF referee. I mean, whether I was maybe a wee bit a bit harsh on them last week there, it's still, when you've not got neutral referees, it takes a bit of the polish off the game.
And Eddie, just finally, are you happy with the shape of the pitch? I know it was a little bumpy earlier in the week.
Yeah, they've done a real good job. They've worked hard on the field, they've asked us for requirements, and they've done everything. I mean, it's improved 50–60%, so it shouldn't be any real problem tomorrow.
Eddie, it's very kind of you to join us, and we wish the boys all the very best tomorrow, and we hope you get a big crowd out there to urge you on.
Thanks very much.
OK, back to the Rugby League now, and Caltex Field and Warren Boland.
Thanks, Steve. Well, the top six are still gunning for that final five at the end of the season, but after last week's round, well, there was one crucial change. Norths lost to Wests, and Manly got off the hook against Newcastle, and that allowed the Seagulls to leapfrog the Bears into 5th place with 3 games to go.
At Campbelltown, Norths were on the wrong end of a 14-0 first-half blitz from a nothing-to-lose Wests, Scott Hardy scoring the first of his 2 tries. The Bears came out of hibernation after the break, sparked by Noel Solomon and David Hall, to hit the front 18-14 with 15 minutes to go. But Norths weren't able to go on with it. The Magpies surged back to win 26-18 as Norths crashed out of the top 5, suffering their 4th loss in 6 games. At Newcastle, the bounce of the ball was a crucial factor. When Brad Godden didn't get to a bomb on the full, a wicked bounce served up a try for Manly's Des Hasler. The replay showed Hasler was 4 metres offside in front of the kicker Jeff Tuvey before chasing through. A Matthew Johns kick turned Ivan Cleary into a juggler as the Knights hit back. Then Matthew Rodwell showed sharp reflexes to gather a lucky deflection. Newcastle hit the lead 10-6. Danny Moore went close, then tried to play it forward. The ball rebounded to Cliff Lyons, 10-all. More skillful was Lyons setting up of a good try for Owen Cunningham. The converted try gave the Seagulls a 6-point lead. In a game coach David Waite claimed the Knights deserved to win, excellent lead-up was finished off by Adrian Brunker, and Newcastle were down by 2 with a conversion to come. From near the posts, hero Brunker missed to become the villain, Manly salvaging 2 points when a draw would have left them level with Norths. At Cogra, St George bounced back from their shock loss to Cronulla, thumping a limp Parramatta 36-4 after leading 20-0 at half-time. Among fine games from Jason Donnelly, Noel Goldthorpe and Brad Mackay, young hooker Nathan Brown grabbed the limelight. The thrashing would have reached 40 points if Ricky Walford hadn't had this brain explosion. After drawing with Canberra, Balmain were hungry for more points against Penrith. Jason Sinclair and rookie 5'8" Nathan Wood carving up the Panthers, who had 3 schoolboys in their backline. Brian Smith, Paul Sirenen and the lightning-fast Graham Lyons had the Tigers in front 22-2 at half-time, and they held off a second-half comeback by Penrith to win 28-12. Darryl Trindle helped a depleted Souths end a 9-match losing streak when they defeated the Gold Coast 16-13, surviving a late rush by the Seagulls. And Canterbury coach Chris Anderson admitted his team isn't playing well as the Bulldogs fumbled to a 12-0 win over Cronulla. The ladder after round 19 was still a six-way go. Canterbury and St George on top on 30 points, Canberra 29 third, Brisbane 28 and Manly 5th on 26, 1 point ahead of Norths. 4 points back are Easts just ahead of Illawarra and a further 4 points behind are Newcastle, Cronulla and Parramatta ahead of the rest. The news that Balmain is likely to lose the 2 competition points from the win over Penrith barely caused a ripple, probably because they're down the ladder, but once again the replacement rule has struck. A coach can make a maximum of 6 interchanges using a maximum of 4 different reserves. Balmain's error was to use 5 different players when they became confused by a blood bin substitution. Blood bins don't count as interchanges.
While the Tigers have to wear that mistake, I think that rule should be simplified. In the hurly-burly of a game, it's simply too easy to miscount. I don't know about you, but I was happy with the old 4 replacement rule. I thought that was less confusing for everyone.
Yeah, well, that was back in the times when it was easy to play, mate. At this rate that we're playing out at the moment, I think it's they should have unlimited interchange. You know, they either have unlimited or have four replacements, because it is becoming very complicated, not only for coaches but also for players themselves. And I think they should have unlimited interchange.
All right, unlimited. I think that's a little too confusing for the spectators and the commentators, but I can see the point. At least it doesn't allow for those kind of mistakes. The other news overnight is that Parramatta coach Mick Cronin will stand down next season, and his likely replacement, the job has been offered to former Parramatta player, and in fact a stalwart really, Ron Hilditch. Of course, Ron did also coach Illawarra for a while. Last night, round 20 kicked off up in Brisbane. It was the Tigers taking on the Broncos.
Amazing turnaround in the game for those of you that just joined us. Madison, hand off for Renoff, inside ball, beautiful play. Hancock gets the try.
Brisbane just devastating, winning 50 points to 0. They scored 9 tries. Michael Hancock got 3 tries. Steve Renoff absolutely electrifying. Terry Madison had a great game when the going was tough. Early on, Balmain did give it a shake. Hard to believe when you look at that score. And Brisbane now move up to 30 points. Co-competition leaders, at least temporarily, and they certainly improved their for and against.
Yeah, well, and they're a brilliant side. I mean, without saying, they were just devastating in every aspect of that game last night. And I mean, I just think they're so much on target for back-to-back premierships. You know, it's frightening, actually, for what they can do in the next few years. The only side I think that can really give a real shake is this Canberra outfit out here. Every time Canberra get near 22, they're always threatening and always showing a lot of confidence with each other, and that's a big plus for any side, especially at this time of the year.
I know that Alan Jones certainly paid tribute to the Broncos last night. He thought that any team would have been routed the way Balmain were, but this week we read that Souths are signing up a number of players, that there's negotiations going on with Alan Jones, that he'll be talking to Bob McCarthy. It seems to me there's a bit of a conflict of interest for Alan Jones still coaching Balmain and working at least part-time for Souths. Yeah,
it's pretty tough, you know, Warren. It's, you know, he has a commitment. He does give a thorough commitment to the Balmain players and to the club at the moment. But it is difficult also when you're playing and signing up other players from, you know, for another club that you're going to be in next year. So it's a tight one. It's a toughy one.
Well, in all the dispute last week, it's East. Jack Gibson made the comment that he didn't think that Alan Jones should continue at Balmain, which was an interesting, considering that they decided to get rid of Gary Freeman. Well, here at Caltex Field, let's have a look at the half-time stats. Cronulla having to do a lot of defence, but largely because of their own errors. They've made 19 errors in all. The penalties are 3 apiece. Scrum's pretty even. The metres gain going well and truly the Raiders' way. 687 to Cronulla's 475. Canberra have had more ball, and it's 26-6. What can the Sharks do in the second half? Will they start out the way they began the game, trying to take Canberra on at their own game? Mitch Healy gets the last 40 minutes underway. In that first half, after Cronulla scored to level the scores in the 7th minute, it was 6-all. Canberra then went on to score 4 tries in 11 minutes to race away. So, Johnny Peard, what did Big Artie have to say to the Sharks?
Well, he's mainly concerned about the mistakes, Warren. He's looking for more control in this half. In the other room, Tim Sheens fairly happy with their performance, but would like them to play with a little more patience with the football.
Well, they seem to be trying to settle down a little just before half-time, Canberra, not get too carried away with it, but through the middle part, they were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the second 20 minutes, Warren, they seem to have just gone through the motions, just going through the motions, not trying to do anything out of the ordinary.
And Aaron Raper racing up on Ricky Stewart, but Stewart steps away from him, gets onto his left foot as easy as pie, and places it down to Samet.
And more importantly, put everybody on side when he chased his own kick.
As Craig Diamond brings it back. The top tacklers from the first half, Danny Lee, who in fact has racked up more tackles than anybody else in the competition all season. If you can compare tackle counts, he's got 17, Staines 15 with Raper, and for Canberra, Laurie Daly leading the way with Pongia from Furner with 7.
And the thing about Laurie Daly's tackling, every one is very effective.
His defence in the last month has really been inspirational, Daly. He's making some strong hits and lots of them.
Well, Canberra have made 68 tackles to Cronulla's 114, and there in itself is a story, isn't it? Very difficult under those circumstances.
Sure, but unfortunately Cronulla have contributed to that count, haven't they, John?
Oh, most certainly. They've made far too many errors, and there's another one probably you could say that's not an effective kick. It's gone over the back.
Yeah, Jason Craig could put a lot of pressure on him there too, which really does help.
David Furner brings the ball forward. And Lomax hits it up. Meninga. Had a very good promotion here at Cronulla today. They gave away a car at half-time to a member of the spectators just for turning up today. Paying your way through the gate, you want a car. So it's good to see Cronulla encouraging the people to come along.
Mate, you would have enjoyed watching Tommy Bishop, who you used to play against, Warren.
Thanks very much. I read about him. And a good kick too now by Canberra. Takes play 10 metres from the Cronulla line.
You were telling me how much of a great competitor he was when you used to play against him.
He was a great competitor, but I only saw him on television.
Well, this is where Canberra love to play the game, isn't it? Down here, they're just so professional. They know they've come good at the right time of the year. They're really starting to peak at, you know, pre-semi-final time. And if they win here this afternoon, they go to outright leaders of the competition.
Well, you can be relatively unbiased. If Canberra go on with this as it looks, and if Brisbane continue to fire, will it be a Brisbane-Canberra grand final, or will St George or Canterbury or Manly or even Norths, could you think they could take them on?
Oh, I think Canberra can take on Brisbane because they play at their own type of football. They like to throw the ball around. They've got a tremendous back line, and their forwards, well, I think they cancel themselves out. So they've got a better defensive record than Brisbane, and that's very interesting come semi-final time.
The amazing thing is that neither side is guaranteed of being in the top 3, and that's going to be the most crucial part of it if they are to make and win a grand final. Here's Les Davidson, 12 short of halfway, last tackle, back to Healy. And Healy drives it down between Belcher and Nandruku. Not too much option where you kick. If you kick deep, you're going to pick either Nandruku, Belcher or Hoppy out. They're all pretty dangerous.
You get Mel Meninga to take the ball up first up.
As Pongia hits it up, he's 5 short of halfway.
Any more news on Osborne down there, John?
Benny, I'll check for you, sitting right next to me.
And the ball lost by Furner, and Cronulla come up with it. One of the rare Canberra mistakes. And Quinn very nearly knocks on a dummy half, but the referee gives him 6 more as Canberra got a touch. Now, Eddinghausen, sloppy pass. I thought it went back, and I thought it was dived on fairly, but Eddie Waters found a knock on from Paul Bell.
Yeah, good defence here from Mel. Never left ET.
And Paul Osborne will be taking no further part. He's a spectator sitting right next to me.
Well, that's unfortunate for Canberra. Let's hope it's not too serious because he's been outstanding. Very much involved in the early parts of the game.
Daly, Nandruku off the scrum to Meninga. And the Cronulla club have asked us to send a cheerio to Tracy Pope in Adelaide. Tracy's suffering from leukemia, and she's become a close friend of the team. And the club is today staging some fundraising for the Childhood Cancer Association, which has supported Tracy and her family. And they're trying to fund donor searches worldwide. So Hello to Tracy Pope in Adelaide. Hope you're enjoying the game. Unfortunately, Cronulla are in trouble here as Daly steers it down the middle to Samet. And here comes Nandruku and Belcher. And Belcher makes the tackle. Good enthusiasm from the 31-year-old as Diamond brings it away. And some hefty defence comes in from Pongia. That was a jolting tackle on Evans. Kearns now. Davidson. And Ricky Stewart just grabbed him by the shoulders and flung him to ground.
A Cumberland throw.
Good leverage. Raper. Down to Belcher. Poor Bell there to make the low tackle. You can hear the call to Nandruku to back up around. Cronulla were a little short if Canberra had been able to get the extra man to bring the ball around. Lomax, Pongia, two Kiwis working together nicely in this match. And Big Artie up the back behind the glass, hoping that his side can finish strongly, because Arthur Beetson will be replaced by Johnny Lang next year here at Cronulla as coach.
I think he's done a good job here at Cronulla.
Daly kicks through, Samet comes to it well and goes straight back upfield, but Ferner covers him. Good work by Ben Samet. He's only 18, he's been in first grade for about 3 or 4 matches, and he really has sewn up the first grade fullback job. As Daly put the kick through, and it wasn't a bad kick either. And now Cronulla have got a penalty. Holding down again. It's probably been the major penalty given away by both teams, holding down in the tackles, trying to slow it down.
Let's see if Cronulla can do something tricky here.
Quinn, that was pretty tricky.
He showed the ball.
Davidson, he's got the offload out the back. Quickly on to Healy. Back inside is Kearns. Long pass out to Samet, but he's hit hard by Meninga. And thrown over. Well, could well have been a penalty. Healy. Oh, bad pass. Eddinghausen had to go back for it. Healy didn't seem to know whether he was after Quinn or Eddinghausen. E.T. gets outside 1. 15 out. Pearce.
That's a good settling run.
Andrew Pearce to play it. 6 metres out. Last tackle now for the Sharks. Raper's kick gathered in easily by Steve Walters. That didn't threaten them.
No, I think I would have went up in the air again. It's been successful for him so far.
Meninga met by Davidson. Gee, the two hit like 2 tall buildings crunching into each other in an earthquake. Pongia throws it back. Stewart to Daly. And here they go. Mullins to Hoppy. Hoppy drags out a 1 tackle. Carves his way back inside. Stewart went the wrong way. He needed to stay back infield. Away goes Stewart this time. Nandruku, straight up the middle. Taken by Lee. Back to Stewart. Healy comes over the top to knock the pass down. Stewart appealing for a knock on, but Samet gathered it in. Or maybe Stewart was suggesting Samet was offside, but it looked okay. Oh, now that was a dangerous tackle from Mullins. He did release him, but he lifted him in the first place. Andrew Hick, the man who was up in the air and suddenly hurtling downwards.
Yeah, he realised what he was doing and he half pulled out of it.
Mullins trying to stop him, and the aim of the tackle obviously is to get them off their feet so you can stop their momentum, but it's too dangerous. And as John said in the first half, the refs are cracking down. Penalty goes to Cronulla. Canberra knocked back their 10 metres. Eddie Ward's been waving both teams back when these taps have been taken. Healy finds touch, getting on with the job quickly.
Come on, Sharkies.
That's right, you went for the Sharks, didn't you? Davidson has worked hard. He's 15 out. No change in the half-time score after 10 minutes. Still 26-6 in favour of Canberra. Pearce.
Danny Lee has done 24 tackles already.
Steve Henderson is on for the Sharks at dummy half, but now Steve Walters is going to be spoken to, or is it Wesley?
Warren, if we can have a look at a replay here, this could be what we were talking about earlier.
About the crutch?
Yes. There's Steve. Well, there's not. There, well, there's a half a crutch. Half a crutch grab. But they're very sensitive to it today, the referees.
It looked like a thigh, John. You'll have to check out your erogenous zones. But here go the Sharks. They're still only a few metres out. And Davidson goes up the centre. Mandruka calling on the blind side. They're a little short there. Henderson to Healy. Up the middle goes Eddinghausen and scores a try. Beautiful stepping by Eddinghausen. Just puts them down into their minds and showed his speed and deceptive running. Cronulla scored the first try of the second half, and it's 26-10 in favour of the Raiders. Healy feeds it out to Eddinghausen. He steps back away from Daly, away from Stewart, away from Belcher. He beat three good ones to get there. Pretty easy. There was no one coming from the inside.
No, tremendous balance here. E.T. very good on his feet. See the slide in defence, he goes inside. When you either turn the ball back inside or step back inside, with the slide in defence, you'll always get him. And here we see E.T. off his left foot, beautiful step. Badge couldn't do anything, Gary Belcher couldn't do anything there.
So E.T., who joined Cronulla way back in 1983, he's been there for a long time. He's part of the furniture. He decided against going to other clubs this year. 5th try of the season.
Yeah, he's been tremendous for Cronulla, hasn't he?
Now, Mitch Healy, he fed that pass out to him, right in front. And no problems for him. So the Sharks edge back into the game. They're down by 14 points. It's 26-12 in favour of Canberra, 12 minutes into the second half.
Not much on here. There's the Canberra defence starting to slide. Look at number 12. Pongia, there on the left of your screen. He should have continued on his way to slide out, and he probably would have met Eddinghausen. He dropped off a little, and that was good enough to use his feet and get through.
E.T. made Daly and Stewart look pretty ordinary there. They really didn't cover his step at all. Look at the metres gained. It's all Canberra. Though Cronulla now in front and time in possession, so they've turned that around.
Well, they're not pushing the passes, are they, Warren, this afternoon? They seem to be getting to their sets of 6, which is a big plus.
Another try would make things interesting if the Sharks can score it. Eddinghausen, Davidson has been hunting out wide. He pops it back. Eddinghausen managed to pull it in. That was a lucky run, but in the end, great work by Davidson.
Well, the Sharkies have got nothing to lose. They're going to throw the ball around. This is good football.
Henderson to Pearce. He bounces away from Meninga. Got the pass to Bell. Meninga's across now, it goes low. Up to the halfway line. The crowd's starting to roar. Kearns takes on Pongia. Great clash. Henderson to Healy. Pops it through for Eddinghausen. He could get to this one. The bounce eludes he and Belcher. Daly manages to get to it. That was a close thing. That could be the turning point.
Yeah, good option there. Very smart, breaking up the kicking game here. E.T. unlucky not to get the bounce. If he got the bounce, it would have been happy days.
Now Stewart kicks for Mandruku.
Oh, very good.
And a Cronulla player, Diamond, fell over as he went to turn. Back goes Samet. Mandruku coming quickly. Samet dives on it. Mandruku there to make the tackle. Samet managed to get away from his goal line. And now is he hurt or is he playing dead?
Well, that's the easiest way to make 60 metres. I mean, very smart play there by Stewart and Mandruku. Seeing the fullback not being home. 60 easy yards.
Well, Samet is clearly hurt. May have had the wind knocked out of him. I thought Stewart thought about the long pass, but in the end, Craig Diamond fell over.
Warren, had the kick gone more to the left or more towards the sideline, it could be very dangerous. Mandruku would have won the race.
Yeah, good thinking by Stewart. Davidson plays it back, and Henderson, who's gone into dummy half for Aaron Raper, who's off the field. Healy. seemed to come off the edge of his boot. Finds touch, but only gains 20 metres. Well, it might not be such a bad idea to find touch rather than give Nandruku a chance to come back at you.
That's for sure. Very interesting. I think both Brisbane and Canberra, of course we all know that they play similar type of football with the ball. I just think I favour the Broncos a little bit in the forwards, man for man in the forwards. I think the Broncos get them.
Paul Osborne with the ice on his shoulder. Daly standing wide. The long pass comes out to him. Dummies to Mullins. Gives it to Meninga. Eddinghausen underneath. Bell over the top. Hongia hits it up. He's done that well today. At one stage, it looked as if Cronulla were in danger of being thrashed by Canberra. In the first round, the Raiders knocked them over 46-6 at Bruce Stadium. That was Cronulla's 5th loss in a row. They started the season going down to all the top sides because they are in that tough zone as Croker loses it. Cronulla in that tough zone. Their first 4 losses of the season included Canberra, Brisbane, St George, Canterbury and Parramatta, who were running hot early on. And after losing their first 5 already, the rumours started to appear that Arthur Beetson would get the chop. And it was coming from the boardroom. But they've fought back well through the year. 8 wins, 11 losses at this stage. Some heavy treatment on Quinn. He tries to get away from Mullins and Daly. Mullins dives at the heels of Evans. Plenty of spirit in this Cronulla side and organisation in this second half. A lot of purpose as Lee goes forward over the halfway line. Henderson darts away. Ferner gets to him, the pass taken by Steve Walters. I reckon Steve Henderson was entitled to expect a bit more support there.
Yeah.
Stewart quickly goes away, turns, just gets him. Meninga now. Lovely tackle comes across from Bell. And Samet. Daly to Ferner. Tearing his way through David Ferner. They're only 20 metres out. Stewart couldn't hang on to it. And the referee checking with his touch judge. The touch judge said it went forward.
Well, it's good to see Eddie Ward looking to his sideline.
Well, the touch judge was in a good position to judge whether it did creep forward from Stewart, unlike Eddie Ward.
Very positive move from the referees to get the touch judges involved. They're coming up with some handy decisions. Taking the pressure off referees, and that's the key.
Healy away from the scrum win.
Very interesting, John. Henderson replacing Aaron Raper.
Yeah, Steve Henderson's the son of the late Norm Henderson, who had a stint with Balmain and then St George.
That's Diamond.
Up and away, up and away.
John, can you put your finger on why Cronulla are handling better in the second half?
Well, a little more possession, but they're looking after it this time, Warren. I don't know the reason. I think they just, they are still being positive. They're still moving the ball around. Look at that. That's good play, just around the back of the marker area, and a good inside ball. And ET's getting himself involved, you know, and then Arthur would say, well, why did you throw that one? There's a fine line, isn't there?
Yeah, that was bad luck. That was beautiful football to start by Henderson, among others. But now,
well, this is interesting.
Raiders have got a penalty, and what was that for? Well, they never back. I'm not sure. They're going to take the tap. Away goes Daly. He's got a back line with him. Croker spears straight through. Jason Croker all the way to the corner. And I think that's try number 3 for Jason Croker. He did it all himself. He split the line and then raced. Hasn't he got some speed? He really showed them a clean pair of heels here once he got through the line. The quick tap was the secret. They had plenty of numbers there, Canberra, and Cronulla were way short. Look at that. No Sharkies there. And Croker gets outside Davidson and inside another player who was well and truly outnumbered and went all the way.
Yeah, you can see Laurie Daly seeing his vision is terrific, and you know, the quick tap, seeing the Sharkies really falling asleep, always outnumbering them, and unfortunately ET's going to have nightmares over this bloke.
Tremendous effort by Croker, who scored tries in the 4th, 22nd and now 60th minute. And Canberra back out to a comfortable position, 30 points to 12. 3 tries is always something to celebrate. David Ferner has left the field.
He was leading the tackle count too with 17 tackles for the Raiders.
John, did you pick up what the penalty was for, which led up to that quick tap?
No, I didn't, Warren. The ball was propelled forward, wasn't it, off Cronulla.
And Canberra came
up with possession. And Cronulla at 6s and 7s, and of course it was a good decision by the captain.
I can only think that it must have been a quick play the ball and they were never back. Mal Meninga's taken over the goal kicking with David Ferner off the field. Not an easy one for Big Mal, who has decided to stay with the Raiders next season, and he's pushed it well wide. When he's on, his goal kicking's great. There's been a few off days over the years. Canberra 30, Cronulla 12.
Yeah, there's the quick tap. Look at the heads that Canberra have got there. Davidson sliding across. Bell, number 4, was in an unenviable position. He just didn't quite know what to do, and Kroger made it look simple, but he's got superb pace, this lad.
Play underway once more. So the 20 minutes remaining in the game. Will Cronulla throw in the towel? Will Canberra suddenly start racing them in an avalanche? Or will it continue as it's been for most of this half, where Cronulla have really been very competitive, and from 26 to 6 at half-time, it's now 30 to 12 to Canberra, so it's been pretty even in the first 20 of the second half.
He's starting to come of age, Jason Croker, Warren. That's a terrific effort, 3 tries. He's played on the wing, of course. He's got a heap of pace. Some interesting experiments by Canberra. David Boyle is playing in the forwards now. He was a handy centre. And mobility seems to be the name of the game. He's on the field. He's in 41. Number 40.
And Andrew Pearce hurt there as he tried to take Lomax high, and Pearce hasn't moved. He's still down. He's not well at all. Luckily, players down the other end, but now the referee is going to call time off because they realise this is a serious injury. Pearce is just managing to get up off the ground. I don't really think he knows where he is, and he certainly is a blood bin case. Lomax clashing heads. Ouch. Just one of those things, an accident. Pearce doesn't look 2 days now, but he's certainly stung and losing blood. Away we go again with Lee. Again, it's Ponga making another very solid tackle. He's leading the tackle count now for Canberra. Eddinghausen showing it outside. Evans, across comes the defence. Hoppy man on man. Mullins was coming across. Quinn kicking down the line. Of course, Chris Quinn was playing fullback for much of the season.
Of all the footballs running around in today's game, I'd have to say Danny Lee's the most underestimated player of all. I think his work rate and his commitment here in the game every week for Cronulla is outstanding. And you know, he's leading the tackle count with 27. His hit-ups, you know, he's had 9 hit-ups. So you know, those type of players are so valuable to you.
I got to admit, I was surprised when I read that Danny Lee has more tackles on the board, 657 for the season, ahead of the likes of John Cross and Gary Larson, Neil Pinchinelli. Here go the Raiders again.
It could be Jason Hudson, the 29, Warren.
There's quite a few changes in this Cronulla side now as Healy goes back to the blind side. On the halfway line, it's Davidson.
He's kept going, hasn't he? 14 hit-ups.
He really has played strongly.
Effective hit-ups too.
Hudson met by some solid defence. Healy.
Well, they've got to try things.
And Hoppy had it well covered. Eddinghausen was trying to come through, but he was pretty well blocked by the other Canberra players. And it just shows you the problems that Cronulla have had with depth, a limited amount of money to spend on players, and some of these no-names out on the field, the players we're not familiar with, we may be in the years to come. Here's Cronulla They were never back. They were offside out wide. Eddie Ward playing the advantage. Now gives a penalty. There's Jason Hudson.
Very young side, isn't it, Warren?
Certainly is. And there's a few changes in it from the beginning of the year as well, as Arthur Beetson has tried to find the right combination. Lomax. Met by Kearns and Lee. Nandruku. Loose pass. Cronulla can't gather. I thought that should have been play on for Canberra that time. Pongia diving on it. It had been knocked on by Cronulla. It went through the Cronulla hands. I thought that should have been play on.
And a little cheerio call out there to young Jackie Barnes, who's a fanatical Canberra supporter. Was a Balmain supporter until we get beat. He goes for Canberra.
Eddinghausen runs into trouble. Cronulla just losing the pattern a little now. They're starting to go one out. These changes might have hurt them. Here's Healy. He loses the ball. Straight to Meninga. Canberra go on the attack. Meninga pulls out of a tackle to Daly. Shovels it onto Mullins. He's got speed. Taken well, though, from behind. There's a good tackle by Samet. Pongia. They're only 9 metres out. Canberra setting the back line as Ricky Stewart calling the shots. Now he turns to see if the ball's coming to him. Daly, wide pass to Belcher. Croker couldn't get it, and that would have been his 4th try if he could break the tackle of Eddinghausen. Those 2 wide passes always get Canberra moving, don't they? Out to, from the dummy half to the halfback Stewart and then on to Daly. They cover 40 metres.
And they knock out about 7 or 8 defenders in 2 passes.
Yeah, they're the masters of width, Canberra. Every time they go wide, they've got the opposing back line in all sorts of trouble.
And they play their little plays after the two pass.
Here's Kearns. Last year, Canberra finished 12th on the ladder. 5 points outside the 5. Only 4 clubs had a worse defensive record. And Tim Sheens, pointing that out at the beginning of the year, said, well, in 92, we conceded an average of 19 points per game. This year, he wanted it to come down to no more than 12 points per game. And funnily enough, if you divide the 19 games they've played so far this year into 228 points they've given away against, what do you think it is, Benny? 19 into 228.
Good, thanks.
12. Exactly what Tim Sheens said at the beginning of the year.
I think most clubs aim for about 12, Warren. If you get your defence working at about 12 against the game, you know, you're going to be up there in the firing line. Of course, Canberra's a little different. They've got some outstanding attack to go with. It's never been a problem, their attack.
No way. It's Meninga coming inside Walters to Croker. They're unable to handle there. That's David Boyle.
Well, I asked Johnny Peard down there. Johnny, you reckon Canberra are good enough to beat Broncos come D-Days, semi-final football?
I think it'll be out of those 2. I like the way this team's coming on. And they've got some excellent players like Croker starting to come of age. David Boyle's going to be a handy replacement in the 2nd row. There's a kick by Quinn. Chase Babel. I don't think he's quick enough.
Evans too flying through, but Mullins has beaten them all. Great work by Brett Mullins, and he gets back into the field of play.
Excellent work.
Gee, that was good football by the centre, Mullins, because he was the only one who was awake. Daly.
The good thing about Canberra, they all share the workload. I mean, the likes of Laurie Daly and the Meningas don't. It's a great kick, and it's great defence, and even better work to get back in the field of play there for Mullins.
You can't beat pace, can you? I mean, Paul Evans then was beaten by Mullins, the chase for the ball.
Loss of the ledge.
Canberra have lost it, though, and it's a scrum feed to Cronulla. In a good position to attack here. Eddinghausen goes wide. He gets it to Bell. On to Diamond. But I think that Paul Bell was hoping Craig Diamond would come inside him. Kearns gets it back to Quinn. And Quinn carves around and straightens up himself. Eddinghausen over the advantage line quickly, but good defence by Boyle. And Wesley, two of the younger Canberra Raiders. Danny Lee. the Sharks working away here, trying to get a try back. High tackle by Wesley. No reaction from the referee. Tackle was on Hudson. Eddinghausen pops it across. Diamond comes through. Nadruku took it well. And Diamond tried to jolt the ball loose. He realised Nadruku had beaten him to it.
Well, that was a good take, wasn't it? I mean, he had to turn his back and he was running backwards, and plenty of pressure on Noah. He's been a great buy from here. It is good kick here from ET. Plenty of width. He turned his back and it's a good take.
Away come the Raiders again. And Pongia, who must just about win the work rate award for this game, for at least Canberra. Stewart cuts out 2 men. Daly called for it. Meninga onto Nandruku, but good tackle from Bound, put the pressure on him. And Mal Meninga might like to have that pass back. I guess they figure that Nandruku scored 17 tries. He hasn't scored one. He's only scored 1 today. Another boo-boo.
They've made a lot of fundamental mistakes today, Cronulla.
Steve Henderson this time at dummy half. Just maybe Les Davidson heeled it back a little too hard for him, but that's the story of the error count. 18 missed tackles by Cronulla. Those handling errors in the first half really killed them. 11 in all, in addition to 3 losses of possession.
They've had a lot more control in their play, Cronulla, in this half. And that shows on the scoreboard too. I think they're winning the second half 6-4. But a lot more control.
John, it just shows you, doesn't it, that any team can beat another. There's Gary Belcher left the field, but any team can beat another. We saw the first 20 minutes, Cronulla really took it to a team that's up there with the leaders.
They did play well early. Time in possession's the key, Warren. If you can get 3 or 4 or even 5 minutes up on a team in a half of football, you can bet that they're doing it tough, the other mob.
Mitch Hill is also struggling there. He's been called for attention.
Stealing the ball, and now the Raiders go right on the attack. I'll take this 10 metres out. Wesley. Stopped by Quinn. Now it's Pongia. Now, what have the Raiders got in store here? On the blind side again, Lomax, Walters, dummies to Ferner. The back line is waiting to pounce. Wesley has another go.
Where you go, the 2 big passes.
Yep, they're all standing wide.
Predictable.
Here it goes. Stewart cuts out Croker to Daly, to Meninga. Now it's Ferner. Great backup from David Ferner. Last tackle coming up, only 5 metres out. Cronulla hanging on. Stewart pops it through. Daly gives chase. On the ground, Cronulla are offside. Came off a Cronulla player and went forward. Dived on by Hudson. Quick tap. Stewart flings it out to Walters. Quinn came up to make a tackle. Meninga, here's danger now. Out it goes to Hoppy for the corner. He tries to duck under the tackle of Evans, but he got him. They've still got plenty of tackles up their sleeve. Wesley. Cronulla having to see out 12 tackles here in a row. And no panic from the Raiders. Out it comes to Croker. Back inside to Daly. Here it is. Steve Walters finally outnumbers them. Keeping it alive, Canberra. They didn't do anything silly. They knew with that much possession, they had to be a chance inside the Cronulla 20, and finally there it was. Canberra 34, Cronulla 12. Just good, solid, methodical football here. Nothing real fancy about it. Keeping the ball alive. The dummy from Stewart. Out it goes to Daly. Croker almost pulled away himself there for number 4. And finally, Daly again on to Steve Walters.
Yeah, very hungry for points here. They opted to take the quick tap. They had confidence in each other. The good long ball. The Daly-Stewart combination is superb. Walters always ever present, backing up, and an easy 6-pointer.
Ferner right in front of the sticks. Meninga had the last shot at goal, but Ferner's got this one. And straight between the post, and the Raiders now running away to a handsome lead. It's 36-12, and there's 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, the first 2 passes are the key. The long balls here, Ricky holds it up. Long one to Laurie Daly. Just had Croker sitting off him, but that was a good offload by Croker. And Daly committed 2 players, and the saloon passage for Walters.
Canberra have broken the hoodoo of not winning here at Caltex since 1987. Those sort of records are made to be busted. Wesley. They just have this fierce attacking power, Canberra. Coming into the game, they've scored 87 tries this year, and that compares to Cronulla's 40. Furner. Must be wonderful playing in teams like Canberra and Brisbane, which can throw it around and score such exhilarating tries.
Oh, yeah.
It's like playing state of origin football every week. Here they go again, keeping it alive. Mullins, Nandruku.
Anything off his head? Wait.
Tim Sheens really does deserve credit. He's moulded this Canberra side over the last 5 or so years into a tremendous team. What a record they've got. Since 82, when they came into the comp, they lost the 87 grand final. That was under Don Furner and Wayne Bennett. But then, as Samet gathers it in well here.
He's played well this afternoon.
Under Tim Sheens, they won the comp in 89 and 90 and then lost the 91 grand final. Hiccup last year after they had to offload a few players when they broke the salary cap, but they're back with a vengeance this season. And of course, Tim Sheens has signed up with Canberra for another few years through till 1986. The days when a coach got tired of the scene at one particular club after 2 or 3 years are gone. The good coaches are signing up for extended stays. As the pass comes back inside, intended for Eddinghausen from Davidson. And he's got it back as it came off a Canberra hand. A little lucky because Eddinghausen went without it. They swing it wide. Samet, Quinn, Evans. They telegraphed it a little. Evans knocked in the face as John Lomax leads the field, and now
that was
Canberra
ridiculous.
With it.
Walters was standing alongside him there.
And Druga down on the halfway.
Well, the Kiwi connection's been very valuable for the Raiders this afternoon. Both Pongi and Lomax had 31 hit-ups between the 2 of them. So they certainly have worked overtime today.
And there's a replacement on for Lomax for Canberra. Looks like Steve Trindle from the under-21s. A good hit by Quinn. He came in hard on Boyle. Yes, Steve Trindle for Canberra in jersey 34. So the young fellow's been given a run here by Tim Sheens. Stewart. Long ball for Croker. He's outside Aaron Raper. Away he goes. Is this number 4? Croker for the corner. Yes! Try number 4 for Jason Croker. And I tell you what, he's been to sprint training. He is flying today, Croker. I know that he has played in the backs in the past, but he's been in the forwards more often than not lately, and he is absolutely blitzing them today. Look at this. He gets outside Aaron Raper, just pure acceleration, left him way behind, and sets his sights for that corner, and they just couldn't get to him. Samet across, desperate tackle, too late.
Yeah, the long pass here, a great ball here by Ricky Stewart, and he has tremendous pace. I think he surprised everybody. He used to play on the wing, so it's been a very good move there from Tim Sheens to put him in the lock forward position.
We don't see 4 tries in a match by an individual very often. Steve Renoff did it a few weeks back, but Croker has now made it tries in the 4th, 22nd, 60th and 79th minute.
Yeah, and has an outstanding game too. He's been there doing the hard work off his line. His defence has been first class. He's been everywhere.
Well, no wonder he's smiling.
It's his 9th try of the year. 4 of them today.
Warren, that was just a case of Aaron Raper being caught out wide.
And generally Cronulla being run off their feet by the sheer speed of this Canberra side. David Furner has kicked 4 goals today. And the ball just toppled over as he came to it. Canberra players standing at halfway. They know that the game is over.
John, do you know if the Sharks have made any major signings for next year?
No, Benny. I'm only interested in one club at the moment.
Furner. Oh, beautiful kick. Fine kick to finish with. And Cronulla a little embarrassed by the final scoreline, but it just shows you what a potent force Canberra are, because Cronulla, for some 60-odd minutes of the game, played with great football. And there it is, Aaron Raper just beaten on the outside by Croker. Meninga was in support, but he wasn't needed. So too Nandruku. And one of the lesser lights of the Canberra side puts the icing on a very big cake today. All this time, Cronulla competitive, but they've been smashed by Canberra, 42 points to 12.
Yeah, all Croker's tries were scored in the corner.
The Green Machine on the march towards another semi-final appearance. A handy 2 points, takes them up to 31. They bounce up to the top of the board for the moment. And who is Benny's best?
Croker, without a doubt. Jason Croker, outstanding game today. 4 tries, 22 tackles.
Pretty hard to beat, isn't it? 4 tries in a match.
He's been
Down to
good.
Johnny Pearce.
Well, Jason, have you ever scored 4 tries before?
Oh, not since I was 15. It was something different.
Righto, you're a former winger. How you finding it at lock forward? You've been enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I'm having a good time in there, mate. Get plenty of work done, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I noticed you prop yourself wide now and then off Laurie Daly. That's a good play. There's plenty of chances there.
Yeah, it's a bit softer out there than what it is up the middle, so not as big as the other forwards.
Yeah. You must be pleased with the way the team's going at this end of the season.
Yeah, that point against Balmain sort of a bit wasn't very happy about that, so it was a good win today.
Yeah, I guess you're looking forward to the semis.
Yeah, mate, looking forward to the semis. Yeah.
Have you played in a semi-final before at first grade?
No, never at first grade, mate. No.
Oh, congratulations on your form. You're going real well.
Thanks, John. Thanks, mate.
Jason Croker, the story of the day there. Cronulla scoring 2 tries. Healy and Eddinghausen getting over the line. Healy kicking 2 from 2. For Canberra, 4 to Jason Croker, 1 each to Hoppy, Pongia, Nandruku and Walters, and Furner kicking 5 from 7. And let's go down to Steve Walters now.
Well, Steve, how'd you see the game today?
Yeah, mate, it was a good win, you know. They kept coming at us. I don't think we'd end up 40 points, but that didn't indicate the game. They got a good set of forwards there, and I think they'll do well next year.
They started off well, didn't they? Very enthusiastic.
Yeah, very much so. They got a lot of blokes who can come in pretty hard when they tackle there, and a lot of things went our way, and it could have been a lot closer, I think.
You pleased with the way the side's going?
Yeah, it was a good win. You know, I was just saying I thought that Quentin Pongia was outstanding too. He had a great match, and of course Jason Croker came up with 4 tries and played well also.
Yeah, I guess the 2 Kiwis are going to be very valuable players. There's a bit of work rate amongst them, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, they're both tough fellas, you know, and that's what you need come semi-final and grand finals. Blokes that aren't afraid when it gets a little bit rough there, and it's good to have them there.
What about last week's big win? We thought maybe you'd have a bit of a letdown today.
Yeah, well, we have struggled. You know, we struggled the week before Brisbane. We were worried we're struggling the week after going well last week. But it was a good effort. You know, I think that when they started hitting us pretty hard early, that sort of got everyone's mind on the job.
Congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Can I just give a quick cheerio call to Jackie in hospital in Rockhampton too? Thanks.
Good on you, Steve.
Steve Walters, the Australian hooker, and there's the full-time stats page. Cronulla had too much defence to get through. They made too many errors. They were under a lot of pressure at times from Canberra. Penalties even, so they can't complain there. But Canberra, 1,600 metres to Cronulla's 1,100, tells the story, and Canberra ended up with a bit more ball. The scoreboard, 42 to 12. And you would have to say that Canberra are well on the way to the top 3.
Well, that's what it looks like. I mean, 8 tries here this afternoon is certainly a great indication of what a great indication they are going to have with weeks to come. They're peaking at the right time of the season, Warren.
And the pressure goes right back on St George and Canterbury to win tomorrow. North's up against Newcastle. That's going to be a very tough match. A must-win for Norths, and Manly taking on the Gold Coast must also win. So some important matches tomorrow as they try to sort out the top 3 and the top 5. Thanks again, Benny.
Thank you, Warren.
Now, we haven't decided what we're going to have for you next week. We'll decide after tomorrow's results, but we'll see you next week.
and probably run about 3/4 of a mile across the ice to get to them. I still had the camera in my hand. It turned itself on and I hit it as I was running with it. I hit the button and it began shooting. I was afraid for the girls. She was screaming. It's an awful, awful scream, the fear of death.
You just hang on. Hang on for good.
Aaron Daniels clings with frozen fingers to the edge of the breaking ice.
Watch it, Mike.
Something told me to lay down. If I had walked out, there's a good chance the ice would have broken. The ice was breaking around Erin when I was pulling her out.
As Mike Rennick risks his life to reach Erin, the terrified screams of her friend Fiona can be heard upriver.
I was afraid that both of them would go in with the added weight when she come out of the water.
Now crawl. Back up, Mike. You're too heavy.
Mike Rennick had saved one life, but the other little girl, Fiona, was still in the freezing water. She might go into shock at any moment, and she was beginning to panic.
We're going to have to go out and get her. You guys move back, let Mike have it. Hey, you move up to me. I want to get out here. You hang on, honey. There might be too much weight there. Back up, the rest of you two. I got you. I know you're pull. Yes, you can. Come on now, come on. Don't give me that. Get your foot. Come on, give me the foot. Come on. Yes, you can. You know how to swim? Okay, try kick it. Kick! Come on, kick! Get off!
The two girls have spent nearly 10 minutes in the freezing water. Much longer, authorities say, and both would have died.
And I believe that we were supposed to be on top of that hill for a reason, but they weren't supposed to die, so we were there.
Where's that other kid?
I felt good for getting the girls and getting them back home, because I would appreciate it if somebody had done it for my family.
It's something that had to be done. We were lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time. A hero, no. What we did was needed to be done, so that was, we did it.
That's it, calm down. You're okay, you're okay.
I knew that if I didn't get out quick, either I'd freeze or I'd just be dead. Because then I remembered my friend Bobby, and he went down to the river and he died. So I was really scared, like really happy that they were there, really grateful for them. I think they're heroes.
A borrowed video camera. It not only recorded an amazing rescue, it played a crucial role in saving 2 lives.
What we did was something that needed to be done, so we did it. That's how Mike Rennick later described their heroism. But the fact is, until you face danger, you'll never know for sure how you'll react. When Code 3 returns, we'll see some of the extraordinary heroes who emerged during the riots in Los Angeles.
Our outback adventurers bring their hunt closer to home as they confront the dangers in our own backyards.
Perfect spot.
Learn how to live side by side with your deadly neighbours.
Very, very simple technique.
In 10's documentary of the week, The Crocodile Hunter Suburban Killers, Saturday.
What do we want from a bank?
Wouldn't it be nice to
crime rate that's really, really low.
So we can afford a house that's really, really big.
State home loans, 5.5%, capped for 12 months.
Righto, we've got the world's biggest Barbie happening in Sydney, but to make it easy for everyone else, we're going to have Barbies in Grafton, Tamworth, Dubbo, Newcastle, Wollongong, Canberra and Wagga. Wagga Wagga? Yeah. They also need kids' rides, magicians, comedians, face painting and heaps of bands.
Fair dinkum. Face painting.
Yeah, that's all we need. Clowns. I'll get back to you shortly.
At Target, when we make a lady's silk shirt, we could cut back on the double stitching, or the generous cut, or the weight of the silk. We could cut back on the superb finish, or the great range of colours and prints. But we don't. So what have we cut? You guessed it.
Paul's Home Improvements are closing down.
Don't be sad, because Paul's have slashed a genuine 20% off everything during their massive closing down sale. The entire range of tools, timber, hardware, plumbing, paint, everything is 20% off. The Paul's closing down sale is on now. So if you want massive savings, don't miss out.
Accidents and acts of nature take lives every day. But nothing is as deadly as people turning against people. That's what happened during the civil unrest in Los Angeles, when any street could suddenly become a killing zone. But what follows are some of the stories of the extraordinary heroes who emerged from the ashes of the LA riots.
The flashpoint lies deep in the south-central part of the city, at the intersection of Florence and Normandy Avenues. This will become the scene of a series of life and death dramas unfolding within moments of each other. The police have pulled back, and the rioters grow more daring. Violence feeds on violence, an escalating frenzy of assault. This is the beginning of 3 days and nights of arson, looting, and murder. A vicious new game soon develops at Florence and Normandy. The rioters begin pulling motorists from their cars. There seems to be no hope for the victim. But then a single brave man steps forward. Somehow this man manages to clear the rioters and save the driver with nothing more than his calm presence. We do not know this hero's name, but we must honor him. As the mayhem continues, wrecked and abandoned cars block the intersection. Trying to thread his way through, trucker Reginald Denny stalls out. Instantly, the rioters are on him, beating him even as he is still in the cab, then pulling him out. TV cameras broadcast the assault live. One viewer is Titus Murphy.
I was sitting around watching this on television. I noticed there was total chaos, there was looting going on and things of this nature. And we noticed that they were pulling motorists out the cars, beating them. Well, I felt helpless at the time. You know, I said, God, somebody need to do something about it. They're gonna kill somebody down there. I think we made up our minds then that we wanted to go down and check this thing out because it was pretty big.
More than one hero will come to Reginald Denny's aid. Titus Murphy is joined by Bobby Green. Green has a special reason for going.
I was at home watching TV, and I seen this transmitter stop. It was Reggie Denny in it, and he was getting all beat up. I was really hurt to see this innocent man get beaten up. And the only thing, like I said, only thing that came to my mind that he's a truck driver like me, so most truck drivers stick together. The only thing that was in my mind is saving that man's life.
On his own, Denny is able to get back to his truck, but he is so badly beaten, he can move the vehicle only a few feet before he loses control and stalls again.
I thought maybe the cops or the ambulance or somebody would have already gotten to him. So I pulled up next to Mr. Denny's 18-wheeler. You know, he was really beat up pretty bad. The guy wasn't capable of driving his truck. An unknown gentleman at the time came running out of the crowd, and he climbed aboard. I didn't know who he was. I thought it was somebody who was going to attack Mr. Denny again.
Well, when they see me, they thought I was one of them. You know, I think they thought I was going to take the truck in and kill them too, you know. But I convinced them, they see in my eyes I was serious, you know. So I just, got in the truck, started driving, and tell him that I'm a truck driver, and I'll go ahead and take him to the hospital.
Murphy and Green, aided by 3 other citizens, are able to get Denny to an emergency room. Doctors there say that had they taken even a few more minutes, Denny would have died. The violence continues at Florence and Normandy, but so does the courage. Meet the Reverend Benny Newton.
I looked on the television and I saw the gentleman that they had pulled from the cement truck, and I saw the violence that they were putting up on him. He says, no, I'm not going to the church where they're preaching to each other. I'm going to where I know that maybe I can make a difference. About that time, Mr. Lopez drove through the intersection in his pickup truck. And when he stopped, they attacked him. When they attacked him, then they got him down on the ground as they were kicking him and beating him and hitting him, and I was trying to stop them. They were just pushing me out of the way. They got him down on the ground, and after he was lying on the ground, and he was beginning to go into spasms. The despair that I felt was, where are the police? And I lifted my eyes up and my hands up, and I was crying out, please help. And he stood up, and I told him, I said, well, don't move. If they see you moving around, they're gonna come back.
The Reverend Newton more than lived up to the tenets of his religion. Fidel Lopez will never forget him.
I'm happy I'm alive. And I'm happy I live, and I'm happy with the pastor too. And I say thank you 100 times, many times, to save my life. For me, he's a good person. Like him, he trying to help the people to live together. We're supposed to live together in peace.
Titus Murphy, who helped save trucker Reginald Denny, draws a moral from the devastation of the riots.
I think all of us need to start being more concerned about the other person. Start getting involved, regardless of what the consequences are. We need to start getting involved and worrying what happens to our fellow man.
On one wild night, they'll chase their dreams and live a lifetime.
Listened, but I never really heard. Now there's time for me to stop and smell the flowers. Time to listen to the song of life. Time to stop and taste a summer shower. You brought something special to my life. Help me see the world through different eyes.
You can help train a guide dog by sending your donation today to the Guide Dog Association.
See the start and finish of Sydney's greatest community event live from 9:45 with highlights at 3 today.
People can be funny. People can be strange. They can do the craziest things in the craziest ways. But the best part of it all is not just the joke itself. It's laughing with somebody else and laughing at yourself when you can say you've got to be joking.
And now, here's your host, Don Lane. Hello. Thank you. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, that's nice. Thanks. Thank you very much, and good evening, and welcome again to You've Got to Be Joking. Now, tonight, you're going to see the bubbly Victoria Nichols having car problems and doing some fast talking when a couple of cops turn up at the scene of the crime. We also find out what it's like to kiss a girl who has a mustache. And the kids talk to us about money. And to start the show, we have a fairy tale with a difference. And to explain what happened, would you please give a warm welcome to the lovely Paula Goodman. Here, come on, Okay, now if I had this all correct, they tell me you were out searching for a prince.
This
Why?
is correct. You know, it never ceases to amaze me what people will do out in the street. I mean, this was incredible. I'm posing as a press secretary. I've organised a big press conference, but my prince hasn't turned up. So, this young man off the street, would he dress up as a prince for me? But secondly, would he come to the press conference and answer all those press questions?
And pretend to be a prince?
And pretend to be a prince. Full outfit, in the limo, press conference.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was wonderful.
Was he?
Yes,
Well,
fantastic.
let's have a look. Let's see how it went. Here.
I was wondering if you could help me. I'm the press secretary from the Seagull Townhouse. We've got a bit of a problem today. Our Prince Adolfo of Fonduzia hasn't turned up, and it's his big press conference today. And I've got all the press releases ready to go. We just really need someone to come in the limousine as the prince, and I'll look after you. I just have to pop the uniform on you and drive you into the Seagull Townhouse. I was wondering if you could give me a hand and do that for me.
So, how long would you want somebody for?
What do you think? Probably about 15, 20 minutes?
Well,
Would it be too much?
I'll agree on the condition that I can get up to Taylor Square.
Oh, we'll take you straight back.
Fine.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, hello. Prince Adolfo of Fondovia, and he'll speak to you now. Okay?
If I might go first, Terry McPherson, I wonder if you could tell us what the prime reason for your visit is.
For the most part, it's a social visit. I'm here to catch up with a lot of old friends. Last time I was here, 2-day trip, and no chance to catch up with people I went to school with and other acquaintances that I've made here.
Johannes, Miranda Clark, Web Magazine. Is it true that you brought a lot of your family with you? You have a large family, wife and 7 children. Are they with you on this trip?
Not at this stage, no. I'm still waiting on most of my entourage to arrive. And consequently, my personal social secretary hasn't arrived yet. Sheila and nearly everybody else is still in London.
John Henry, Classical Times. Ahmed Halou is your well-known composer in Fonduvia. His music is very Western. Could you perhaps describe the traditional music of your country?
Do you really feel that would be of interest?
It is to my readers, yes.
Very much the same as the rest of the Arab Emirate states. Really, that's about all you can say. It is much the same as any of the Arabian-style music.
Randy Mason, Inside Out. I can't help noticing the stunning clothes you're wearing, sir. Do all men in your country wear similar apparel?
No, definitely not. As you can see, it's basic military attire, somewhat dusty.
long trip, I suppose.
On a long trip. Yes, this is a military uniform, supposedly artillery. I'm afraid I've not had a great deal to do with the artillery. However, I do have experience in helicopters and other forms of military aircraft.
My father actually visited your country back in 1968. He was the principal tenor in the Mitchell Opera Company. They did a tour of Pirates of Penzance. One question which I'd like answered, and my mother would, where is he? We haven't heard or seen of the Mitchell Opera Company since.
No idea. But can we make this the last question, please? Gentleman in the house.
Your Highness...
excuse me, which magazine do you represent?
Inside Out.
Right, sorry.
Inside Out.
You did tell me before.
Yeah. Do you enjoy a television service in your country, Your Highness? Do you have television there?
We have television, but it's fairly limited.
Have you appeared on television often in your country?
I wouldn't say often, no, but I have appeared, yes.
Do you have a program in your country called You've Got to Be Joking? It's Don Lane's television show on the National 10 Network.
Tell you. Really
Well, you are appearing on that at the moment. Your Honour. You've Got to Be Joking. For Don Lane.
That's terrific. I don't know anyone else could have pulled that off as well.
I mean, he really got into the part.
He's sitting up here. Doug
Our
Stevens.
Prince is here.
Say hello. There he is. It's a real person. That's the Prince himself right there.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Paula. It was terrific.
It was a good one. We really enjoyed doing it. It was just great fun.
And great fun. A guy off the street, and he pulls it all off for you.
Absolutely beautifully.
As close to perfect as you could get.
Yes.
After this break, we've got something a little different planned for our studio audience. But before that, if you've ever had problems with a parking meter, watch. Here's one that will give you more for your money.
It's the biggest Simpsons ever. With Red Hot Chili Peppers, Elizabeth Taylor, Hugh Hefner, Bette Midler, Johnny Carson, and...
Are you comfortable in there, Luke Perry?
A sensational new all-star Simpsons tonight.
In France, they snack on garlic snails because they don't have wagon wheels. Which would you prefer?
Le wagon wheel. Hip le wagon wheel.
Weston's wagon wheels. A lot more delicious than a garlicky snail.
There's something special about the Australian countryside, a certain character you'll only find in Australian country style. It's the magazine that explores Australia and celebrates a confident, casual, honest lifestyle. Country style is people and their homes, good yarns, fine wine and food, art and artists from all around Australia. Visit the country every issue with Australian Country Style magazine, on sale now.